initiative. So by being here, I think you stand up. Your advisors picked you up from many other people, right? So you already have been rewarded. But there are some extra rewards here if your team does especially that. Anything else we want to see?
Just want to remind that your presentation, you have 20 minutes to present, and then the judges will have 5 minutes for Q&A, okay? And there will be a volunteer sitting in the audience that will hold up a card that will tell you, the yellow card that will say, you only have 5 more minutes left, and then a red card when you need to stop, okay? So that will help you with your timing. Also, just some housekeeping, restrooms are take a right and then another right. And then for the students that want to prep with your team while the presentations are going on, or if you have any bags that you want to put over there, the room all the way around, okay, where the glass doors are. And like we said yesterday, if you're presenting in this room later on, then you can only sit in on the presentations in the other room. And if you're presenting in that room later on, you can only sit in on the presentations in this room, okay?
For the first round, and the second round will be here, everybody's round.
And yes, so for the finalist round, all the judges will come to this room, okay? So we're gonna start with global leaders, team global leaders in this room, and team multinationals in room 3.
Okay, so we'll slowly move those ones what I
Which room are we in? We could be in this room. Okay. I'm gonna fill up. Okay. T10 in this room. Yeah. But we presented.
Both were presenting in 10 seconds. And both of them said, good, go first.
We see it again.
Came to me in July, August 1st. Here with the problem is I'm going to stay out for 30 days. He says, and therefore, I'll have I don't want to do any communities. I said, oh, you just put it all the fun stuff. Yeah.
April 1999, when Nestle and Total signed their official partnership agreement, where the two companies decided to collaborate. Monosodium glutamate, better known as MSG, was developed in Japan in 1907, which is the ingredient in chicken bouillon. Nestle version, which was the Maggi brand, wasn't appealing to China. However, after meeting with the founder of Totally, he realized that the brand from chicken was better, which they collaborated and made a better decision that it would be best for Nestle to go along with Totally brand of chicken, which that brand was better suited for the Chinese. However, Nestle had
So after they saw that Totole, they took more of like an affiliative style of management in a sense, because the example where Totole purchased the Rolls Royce for the company, he sort of did it to kind of motivate his employees authority before they could in turn make decisions for the company. So although there were these differences between the two companies, Totole in the end promised growth for the company overall. So Nestle just decided, well, we're just going to let them do what they've been doing because it's working.
Nestle, on the other hand, they are a company that's based in Switzerland. They are in China. They are not as welcome to outside companies. So them being in Switzerland and them being Nestle, the Chinese culture was not so taken into Nestle. So what they did, how they brought each other together was Nestle said, okay, the Tole, you guys have your brand, and Nestle had the funds. So basically, they would do the 80-20 split. They would basically say, we give you the funds and we can use your name. So basically, that is how they integrate each other. And Nestle provided their funds like they said they would. So the end goal, both sides kept their brands alive by, using synergy.
Based on our research, we came up to a decision of what both sides should do. So we believe that Ron should sell his shares, but not to Nestle. We believe he should pass it down to a family member or sells it to a third party that's in the local market to have a better understanding of the region and the market. But whoever he sells it to, we believe that they should get the same deal where they make the same decision with our market. However, doing this might not be wise for them. When they enter the market with their brand Maggie, as you pointed out, it was not very successful. It steadily declined. They were ranked in 2001, that company was ranked number 2. In 2008, they were ranked number 3, and it continued to decline. So based on that information, we gathered that they took over, changed the management style, the way they like to do it, and it does not work for that market. And Nestle, they like to be the leader in whatever market they entered. So as much as they would like to own this company, if they want to continue to make a profit, they should try and maintain the ownership separately or independently of them. So when that fell through, he needed the funds and he was seeking help from other investors. Nestle had the money. They have been doing the research into the company 5 years prior to this joint venture. Ron did not know that until he went to Switzerland to sign the contract. So he got the funds to expand and continue to the business. So he used acquisition, or Nestle used acquisition to get into the market, which is pretty common for foreign companies in today's business environment. To get into a market, a lot of cultures might not like, say, an American culture, for example, so they would acquire a company there. So
everybody could drive it, or?
no, everyone was not able to drive. They utilized Rolls-Royce in a manner that whoever performed well or which segment performed well could utilize it. No, we did not find a breakdown of how many people were in a section or how long you could utilize it, but whoever performed well, they would be able to utilize it.
So, thank you for the presentation. Now you really want
That the Enter is totally continue to be the #1 company in the chicken burger market. for their brand recognition as being the #1 in each market. And they gain a lot of profits as well.
All right. Okay, good. I'm usually too loud for these things, so I'll try to keep it down. First off, welcome to Atlanta for most of you. And then could you please comment on the Dongjin's group role in the company, how you analyze that, how you assess this related entity to Mr. Rong in their role in the success of Totola? Relative to Mr. Rong selling his shares and having control over this company as well. If you guys saw any opportunity to maybe use this company's different strengths, if it's helped make Totola successful, and if you're, I believe that one of the questions here, so now if you're Mr. Zheng Guoha taking over Nestle Greater China region, would you see any opportunity to utilize this asset relative to Mr. Rong's transition out of the company?
Enjoy the fruits of his labor after. I think they could be good as a third party.
You did some projections for Rong for Totola, but what do you propose for Nestle for the other brands that they acquire?
We would propose that they adapt some of the benefits that they gain from the venture with Totola, because based on what
So for future businesses, each culture has different, each market is different. So you kind of have to adjust to each market in a different way. So China might have not been so inviting culture, but maybe somewhere.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to
At Savannah State University in Savannah, Georgia.
And my name is Edward Basin Jr. I'm a junior accounting major from St. Augustine's University.
And we are Team Impact, and our title is Nestle in the Future of Billion in China.
So Nestle as a company has always been able to create a win-win situation for merging local manufacturing and management infrastructures, as well as their international presence with their brand. In our presentation, we'll discuss the SWOT analysis, so we'll use the strengths, the weaknesses, and opportunities and threats to come up with our recommendation, and we'll explain to you why we feel Nestle should not, should continue to just partner
in their decision making. So for a culture standpoint, the customs and traditions of its people vary by the location in China. This is China's case analysis. So there are about 56 minority groups, and the largest group is the Han Chinese. So when looking at China from a culture standpoint, they focus mainly on tradition, which is very different in Switzerland. They focus more on diversity. In Switzerland, their major language is German, French, and also Italian. And looking from an administrative standpoint, Switzerland has a democracy, and China is a communist state. So when making many decisions, you're going to think about, can we actually come to a consensus of what we do, because our viewpoint will be very different.
Baby formula was making the baby sick, and there was a lot of lawsuits and a bunch of articles on that, and I feel like that was something that was like lost within it. But another one is foreign investment led to distribution issues, and that's due to the fact that that was unknown land, and them not having a strong like background in that area forced them to have to work together with someone to expand their company overall.
And so they noticed that, and then they realized that they weren't really considering that their finances weren't up to par. You know, that it just wasn't the right time to invest in their company. And then informal communication, so they weren't really communicating with their managers. And of course, Switzerland's much different than China. You know, one is more integrated, and they
leadership style, his authority, his knowledge, know-how of the market. And when he retires, do you think Totole can continue with the same level of performance in the market that they've been enjoying so far?
I believe with his experience,
It's like see it wrong once he retires, in your opinion?
I think with any company, you're not doing it all by yourself, and so of course I'm sure there's someone on the team that is, well, they're all familiar with his work style, but they see what works for the company, and even if they wanted to, switch or alter different things, the way or different ways the company functions or different functions of the company. I said that, but then I think that would be okay to do so, even if they have depended fully on his management style. It's still room for improvement, with the way the company is being managed.
And I also believe that they've had time to study his management style. So even though he's the head person and he's the one making the most decisions throughout those many years that he's actually been in that position, many people have been up under him learning his style. So I don't believe when he actually retires that they will do away with the things that he has implemented and put in place.
So do you think Rong or Nestle should select and pick the next CEO of the joint venture?
I would say both.
Both? I think both would be a great decision.
Yeah, I'd say both, especially because Wong came from Nestle of 20 years. So.
Briefly, he'd been exposed globally through his work in Japan. And then, did he have any special incentive that seems to be successful in his home market for developing the company and making sure that the employees drive growth to the greatest capability?
He was the leader of the Donggen Group, which was the distribution channels that Nestle kind of used or piggybacked to distribute all the products. So without him, they wouldn't have been able to succeed like how they would have, because Nestle returned an eightfold on what they originally invested, so it obviously worked.
And also looking at the opportunity, even though it started in Japan, China has a growing market. So, take advantage of the opportunities that you see coming in the future. So I personally believe that's why he actually moved his distribution, because he saw the growing potential in the market, as many other businesses do for China as well.
So I think my question is particularly about the SWOT. I see you put the acquisition of Totole under threat. I would like you to elaborate a little more on the advantages and disadvantages of this acquisition, and why did you conclude that it's a threat?
Well, them only owning 20% of their market or their share of the company is real, and Rong is about to retire. He's 65, so that really is a threat, because he was the one who started the company and he was the leader of the distribution channels. So if he retires, then someone else is going to have to take his place. And the guy, I forgot, Young, I can't remember his name, but it's the.
I'm Anthony, by the way.
And also looking at it from a strategic standpoint.
Thank you.
Normally, if you have 80% and I have 20%, you will be making most of the decisions. But
Nestle actually saw that it was beneficial for them for a sales standpoint, actually reaching their consumers that, hey, even though they only own 20%, which is a small share of a large company, you know, that it's better if they remain in control and they make most of the management decisions. So they don't have to give them that full control, but seeing that they are, because it's beneficial for them as well, or more beneficial for them, I believe that's a threat because he can be taken at any time.
So also really appreciate your SWOT and CAGE analysis. I had one question on the SWOT analysis under Nestle for opportunities. You have this technological advances lead to allergen in food, not to change the taste or the flavor process, but you look at that as an opportunity to increase their market share by creating a more allergen-free MSG type flavoring.
Yes, and also because a lot of people don't want food that contains.
Original brand, Magi or Maggie, what was their market share in 2001?
I don't actually remember the market share, but I know at the time they weren't doing that good. So when they actually looked to actually find a partnership or someone to acquire, they were looking at from a benefit from their own. So fending off the foreign competition and the local competition if I actually purchase my competition. So I'm not actually sure if the number-wise what was their market share, but they weren't doing pretty good. They were trying to find different ways to, you know, increase their market share.
Did you think that Totole did anything to enhance the Magi brand? Because I believe that the case mentioned that that was one of the reasons for the Totole acquisition, so there was some synergy there.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're good. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me.
So we came up with the cultural problem on the market side was that China is considered
Hey, let me take a picture of you.
We also came up with the Rolls-Royce because in China it's really important. The term face is really important, and face represents the reputation and feeling somebody gets within different spheres, and one sphere is also the workplace. So in China it means a lot to them if they're actually allowed to, like, although Totole had control over Maggi, there were still some barriers which limited Maggi to sell their stuff as successful as Totole did. We didn't find any geographic distance because Nestle actually put the production of Maggi into China to our channels with Douyin, a company which was owned by Rong. So although Maggi was owned by Totole, it is kind of normal that Rong tried to push his own brand more than something which Nestle came in. So that were the four, we came up with that approach to see that there were differences between China and Switzerland, and came up with those two examples as well. Although they had some problems, we still considered them problems. I think we think that the most important thing for Nestle was to get into the market and get the values.
And Totole's, which at early 1990s was one of the best and most profitable products at the time. But by 1994, there was two companies who entered the market, Knorr and Nestle, which have a really, really interesting approach. As stated over here, the president of international affairs at the time said that one of their goals at Nestle was to maintain the leading position and a strong influence in all regions. And they stated also that if we do not lead in that area, we will implement a corporate acquisition. So this company, since its beginnings, were lurking around other companies such as Totole's to acquire and get his company, who was in an impoverished situation, and make it into an influential brand, which was the main motivating factor for Mr. Ron to cooperate with Nestle.
So when they first started integrating, Nestle gave Total control over their Maggi brand to kind of help the chicken bouillon market in Switzerland. That wasn't so successful, and we believe that it wasn't successful simply because Total had the advantage of really executing in the Chinese market because that's what they knew. They knew how to market the products, they knew what worked and what didn't work, but they didn't have the knowledge base for the Switzerland market, kind of making it hard for them to really be successful with the Maggi brand in Switzerland. Also, we found that with the integration process, there were some different cultural norms that they had to overcome. Simply, with the Chinese culture, it's important to have that face of looking rich. If you looked rich, then you're presumed to be rich, and that's really what they were going for. Whereas, so Mr. Wong, he went out and he bought a Phantom, and that incited his employees because they valued more of the extrinsic values more so than intrinsic ones. So that motivated their employees to go out and produce more sales and get higher revenues. Whereas for the Switzerland brand, Nestle, they thought that that was an expense that took away from their overall profits, and they should try to motivate their employees intrinsically. So just based on two things, whether or not the technology from Nestle was going to be able to help Total increase their production and as far as tons wise, and whether or not they were able to produce some type of synergistic effect from the merger. So we found that the technology implementation was successful. They were able to generate higher amounts of chicken bouillon. They went from 56,000 tons to 100,000 tons under the Nestle technology, as well as there was some type of synergistic effect, even though they did have managerial conflicts, simply because they were able to retract and attain employees and the top talent. When they first went into the partnership, this was one of the threats that they lost a couple hundred employees from the partnership, but over time they did get some type of synergistic effect and were able to retain their employees and were able to go ahead and attract more employees, and now they hire their employees with over 1,400 people.
Here's our SWOT analysis. The strengths that both these companies obtained was Total's product differentiation. Total's product was so different because of the technology they used to create that product. And Total's flexible management styles was different as well because they allowed their employees to actually partake in their business plans and make decisions, where they have a boss culture nature where only top executive managers were allowed to be efficient in making those plans. And Nestle finances and joint ventures. Nestle had 12 to 13 joint ventures within China, so that allowed them to increase their brand and product. Weaknesses: control distribution channels. They control the distribution channels were controlled by another company, which has less effect on their other brands. So that didn't bring more noticeability to the brands. And sales limitation. Their sales was also affected because the volumes on it. This makes the company more vulnerable to any sudden change in consumer behaviors. Much of the sales depend upon a few well-recognized brands. Opportunities: increased interest in health and nutrition. If Nestle increase and show some type of interest within their health and nutrition, it will allow the company to uplift and better products. And threats: management conflict. One company, which was Total, they wanted their employees to be involved and make executive decisions along with the top managers, whereas the other company just wanted a boss cultural decision where only top managers could be effective and make the ultimate decision.
In addition to using our SWOT analysis, we decided to utilize a PESTEL or framework analysis, which assists us in evaluating some of the micro and then microenvironmental facts that affect some of the process of the product in that market segment. For example, the political area, the stability in the economy of China at the time, the ever-changing regulations, Also, we looked into the economics of it, you know, the inflation, the raw material prices that they had at the time. Also, we looked into the social cultural trends of, you know, were they open to a new food or were they open to a new mixture of glutamic acid? Also, we looked into the technology area, you know, the ever-changing and influential social media and e-commerce platform, as well as the environmental risks that these people have. They have limitations on how to produce efficiently, and also we looked into the legal area, you know, the consistent changes in regulations and the adherence of the promotion of to adhere to these laws and regulations to the employees.
So after reviewing the case, we basically felt that Mr. Wrong had three options. He could either sell his 20%, he could keep his 20%, or he could have a mixed option where he sold some and kept some. We decided that the best option for him was to keep his 20% equity in the company. We feel that this is the best option because there has been evidence of proven increased sales in the chicken bouillon industry in China. There's also been evidence of increased sales in the overall company of Total. And we also have seen that Total has been able to maintain a dominant market share in the chicken bouillon industry. With this option, we also know that there's some risk associated with it. We feel that the greatest risk that Mr. Wrong would have to, be aware of is if he eventually decides to sell his 20% equity, what would be the depreciation value in the currency exchange from when he bought the stock or when he bought the company to when he's going to sell it.
So we came to this decision using the VRIO framework to just evaluate whether or not we recommended him keeping that 20%. So we saw as though like him keeping his stake in the popular brand was of some value to him. In China, Total has that 45% market share, what goes along with it not being too much imitable because Total was able to capitalize on that comparative advantage of merging with Nestle at such an early stage in development and increasing their production rates. We also said that Nestle had that superior technology and they really did take advantage of it, especially with Mr. Wong's management style and really understanding the Chinese culture and being able to be successful on it. We saw that there was an opportunity with the aging population in China. So most of the population, or a good majority of them, are of the age of 55 and older. We saw that if we went back and did the math, and we saw that population grew up in this new edition of the chicken bouillon era, and they were these original users. So we saw that there was going to be some type of brand loyalty. And typically we did see like what happens is like if your grandparents use something, then you automatically start using it. So we keep its consistent sales across the board. And then also, Nestle in Asia is growing rapidly. When they first partnered with the Asian region, they were 7. Currently, they're in 3rd, and the Nestle analysts predict that they will go up to that 2nd largest revenue-generating region for Nestle. And then, lastly, we did see that the potential threat of bringing in a new management style did seem would have some type of managerial conflicts. But we were also certain that with the pricing structure of the of the Total chicken bouillon being marketable to both the lower class and the higher class, and the product differentiation would kind of counteract that, as well as Nestle being adaptable to certain new practices from their interaction with Total in the past years. Just as kind of like an example, with Nestle also acquired another chicken bouillon brand at the same time that they acquired Total. However, Total remained successful because they were able to implement a different managerial structure when compared to the other company, which kind of, we're seeing that Nestle will acknowledge this and kind of allow the new management to kind of go along with the old management ways. And this concludes our presentation, and now we're opening up to questions.
Yes. Your presentation. the third option makes or something like that. And I would like to ask you, so there is this famous question, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? So where do you see this partnership in 10, 20 years after Ron steps down? In terms of control, in terms of market leadership, do you see everything the same, or how will things change?
Hi. So you're asking how we will see Nestle and Total's relationship in 10 to 20 years?
Yes, considering that you're not selling the 20% share.
Okay, so may I ask, has he sold the 20% in the 20 years? Okay, so in the 10 to 20 years, we feel as if Mr. Wrong still has his 20% equity share, that we're recommending that Nestle still maintains the same type of managerial style. That being said, like, they would continue on with allowing their employees, like they call them frontline soldiers, and they would be able to make decisions when they feel decisions need to be made. That basically allows their employees to have a sense of pride in their work, and being that the Chinese culture has a emphasis on base value, this would really keep productivity and efficiency up. As far as like how the company is gonna grow in the next 10 to 20 years, we did go on and look to see that they did start to introduce some new types of chicken bouillon cubes. They have gel bouillon, they have like liquid jellified bouillon. So this increased different types of product differentiation and like increased products to the market is really gonna make sure that they do maintain their dominant market share. I believe that my colleague Stephen was talking about the product differentiation, and them being able to add more products is really going to make sure that they just, stay on top of their game and are a different company being able to lead innovation.
I think you guys did a great job, thank you. And I personally learned 2 more frameworks, VRIO and was the other one, Estelle? So, perfect, thank you. And I also like that you touched briefly to consumer dynamics and population and brand behavior, brand loyalty, which was interesting. My question is, now you went through the case and you actually used all these frameworks. What could they do differently in this acquisition that it would be a more successful one?
I feel as though to make the acquisition more successful, Nestle should be more open to cultural norms and the differences in the cultures. They have more of a rigid type management style. It's not really flexible. It's more like, these are the rules, here, abide by this. So them being to fully adapt and have trust, just having that trust and that partnership in Total to manage their company, the company effectively, I think that's what kind of will help everything out in the long run.
I think Mr. Wrong's a pretty phenomenal person. He managed to exploit the China opportunity there as well. But I gather he's getting on. And how is that going to affect the relationship if he does retire, even if he retains his ownership? Is it possible that his company will suffer?
So we did look into that, and we did notice that Nestle was kind of grooming someone to take over his place. But we also did make some assumption that he was also teaching someone his different management styles and his practices and his best practices. So even though that he is moving on, we do kind of assume that he was training someone to kind of help be his successor after he did leave the company and retire.
If there are no more questions, thank you.
Hey, now we're going to take a refreshment break until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly right. That doesn't help. It might help.
We've been there for about 6 years. We moved down around Athens. Oh yeah, okay. Very cool. So I had to, I went through a divorce. Yep. Long contentious divorce. First wife.
Hey, get this picture over here. It's like unlimited speed. Yeah. Especially through Atlanta. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. I try not
But see, that's a lot of the stuff they don't talk about.
Yeah, I know. What are you doing in Egypt? I'm not. Do you know like everything that you want to say for this, or?
No, I'm thinking of it
okay.
now.
Well, I'm ready whenever you are. So
okay.
Take your time. All right, cool.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Canton Reynolds. I am the Dean of the School of Business Management and Technology at St. Augustine's University, located in Raleigh, North Carolina, as well as the Director of International Programs. And we are excited to be a part of this International Business Case competition. This is our first opportunity to participate. And for my students, I think it is a valuable chance to take what we are teaching them in the classroom and put it into practice through a real case study. The second thing that I think is very important and made me really jump at the opportunity to participate is the format of the case competition. When you take your students and you disperse them amongst students from other institutions, not only are they having a chance to learn from each other, and they have a chance to learn different tools and techniques that we may not be familiar with at St. Augustine's, that they're teaching at a different institution, and bring those tools and techniques back to their fellow students at the institution. So they're actualizing the learning in a couple of different formats, and they're taking those opportunities with them as they move forward in their academic careers. So we're excited to be a part of this opportunity. Hope to come back again next year and expose even more of our students to this unique format and the opportunity to take a real case and turn it into an actualized presentation with team members from different institutions and work on their team building skills as well as their academic progression in terms of the classes they're taking and applying that knowledge to opportunities in their careers moving forward. Thank you.
All right, cool. I want to get that one more time just because of keep having people passing through, so I'm going to kind of scoot a lot closer to you since I'm just working with this shotgun mic today.
Okay.
But yeah, that all was pretty good though. Have you interviewed in front of a camera before, by any chance?
I have,
Oh, okay.
but she asked me this like 5 minutes ago, not even 5 minutes, so I was trying to think of what I wanted to say.
You look really comfortable on it, so. I'm just gonna get too close. And all right, whenever you're ready.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Canton Reynolds, and I am the Dean of the School of Business Management and Technology, as well as the Director of International Programs at St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we are excited to be a part of this International Business Case Study competition. The things that I think are most important about this competition is the opportunity for our students to come and actualize what they're learning in the classroom in a real live case study scenario. Secondly, the unique format of this case study competition, where you take team members from one school and disperse them with other team members and form a virtual team, I think is a prime opportunity for our students to learn how to work with students from other institutions, and then learn from the techniques and tools that they're learning at their schools and bring those opportunities back to our students at our institution, as well as carry those forward in their careers with them as they progress academically. So when I found out about this case study competition, I thought it was a unique opportunity. I was excited to embrace the challenge with my students, and I'm glad that we were able to come and participate. And I'm hopeful that the things that they learn from this experience, they'll be able to bring back to their fellow students at St. Augustine's, as well as carry forward with them in their careers as they graduate from our institution. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. I am recording. You can go whenever you're ready.
My name is David Green, and I'm from Georgia State University, and I major in actuarial science with a minor in finance. It was a great opportunity to be chosen to be a part of this cyber case. Initially, I was actually very nervous when I heard that I was chosen, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I was told that we would probably be broken up into four, I guess, groups of four, or groups of 10 with four people in each group, and I would be the finance representative. So initially, I thought that, okay, I'll probably have to crunch numbers and just figure out all the calculations that I guess I have to do for each case, but it wasn't really like that. I guess coming here, I realized that we had to, I guess, read the case, and then I met wonderful people that we were a part of, and we became part of groups with people that were just wonderful from different schools. For example, Howard, Bowie. I didn't know where Bowie was initially, so that was a great experience for me, meeting people from different schools, from different backgrounds, and just sharing the experiences. And I guess also coming together to work and to work in groups to figure out how are we going to tackle a case. I guess initially we always heard in class that when working with other people, you have to figure out how to effectively work in groups and to minimize conflicts and just keep things going smoothly and just to work and then be cohesive. But I guess I guess at times we did disagree on points, but I guess being very constructive and then seeing the positives and the negatives and the pros and cons in each situation, we were able to come to a agreement, which and led us to, I think, have a very powerful case, and we delivered a very good presentation, in my opinion, and it was a very good experience meeting friends, going to see Coca-Cola yesterday and meeting different people and just having that experience with a bunch of people was amazing. And I would just say that I'm very happy that I had this chance to be a part of the cyber case and to meet everyone and just to have this experience, because I will say that I'm in my last year now at Georgia State University. It's my last semester, and just having this opportunity to be a part of something big that I can one day tell my family about is just amazing, and I'm very happy for this opportunity. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to start recording, so if you just want to tell me about, say, like your expectations for this, what you're excited about, how the experience has gone for you, sort of your favorite parts about it, what you thought about presentations, just basically stuff to kind of like hype your emotions.
So expectations, what else?
Sort of your experience.
Experiences, and the cases.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. And also, I guess if you want to top off with any advice you might give to somebody that's going to participate for the first time next year as well, just because they usually like that for these promotional videos.
Okay.
All right, so we're good to go, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone. My name is Hector Bichardo from St. Augustine's University in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a business major in business administration. When I asked about the expectations, when I first got selected to participate in the cyber case, I didn't really know what kind of things I gotta expect out of it, but it was really thrilling and exciting for me because I was embarking into something, into the unknown. But you know, my experiences since we departed from the school has been great. You know, the hospitality here, and I think the biggest challenge that we had was not knowing, and then specifically who your partner was going to be on the teams. I think that was the biggest challenge that I encountered throughout the whole thing, though. And I also, they have it set up in a schematic way that is really interesting because we have to juxtapose a lot of times, especially when we are in the presentation. So it's something neat that they have over here set up. I also would try to recommend to not even expect anything, just pretty much just go with it and embrace the challenge, because that's what it has been the whole time, and I'm really happy to be here and be part of this.
All right, cool. And you guys can just start talking whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Kenji Walker, a junior management major at Alabama A&M University.
And my name is Nishay Colvin. I am a senior business marketing major at Savannah State University. And we are a part of Team Impact. And for me personally, this was a great experience. It was an honor to actually be selected by my university to have the opportunity to compete in the CBER International Case Competition. I got a chance to meet a diverse group of students and work with, some intelligent individuals and just, be able to problem solve for business issues.
The competition gave me an opportunity to network with like-minded individuals like Nishay. It gave us an opportunity to, like she said, be quick with our critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
And for next year, anyone who is interested in coming, I definitely say you're going to have a great time. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to be able to network and definitely get some real-world experience.
All right, cool. Start recording, and feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Amit Arora. I'm an assistant professor of logistics and supply chain management at Savannah State University. I'm also the director of the Global Logistics and International Business Center at Savannah State University. It's been a pleasure being here, being hosted here for Savannah State students. I'm here with 4 of my students, and I think it's been a great experience for them. And this is the first time Savannah State is participating in this event, and I think it's a great opportunity for students to network with each other. And the great idea was that we don't have a Savannah State team, so all the students have been put in different teams, which gives an opportunity to look at their own strengths and weaknesses and to perform their best. So it's been a great experience for me, been a great experience for all my students, and I would like to thank Dr. Cavaskill and Ms. Farah and their team to organize such a great event, and I look forward to this event next year too. And thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Awesome. That was really good.
Okay.
All right, we are good to go. I'm recording. You can start whenever you're ready. If you could, try to look into the lens. If not, feel free to look at me like you're talking to me.
Kenneth Mabry, a senior at Johnson C. Smith University, majoring in accounting and economics. Pretty much when we got here, it was just like really, we jumped right into the case. Lasted most of the night. They split us up into teams, and it went great. One thing I could say for anybody that's coming for the future is read the case before, take notes, and kind of get ahead of the game. That's what helped us as a team. We kind of got ahead. Everybody already had notes and kind of had mentally in their mind what they kind of direction they wanted to go as far as the case, and that's what helped us. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the feedback. I gained a lot of knowledge from working this case and a lot of feedback from the judges.
Awesome. That was really good. Okay. Start recording. And feel free to start whenever you're ready.
All right.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Mabry, a senior at Johnson C. Smith University, majoring in accounting and economics. Pretty much when we got here, it was just like really, we jumped right into the case. Lasted most of the night. They split us up into teams, and one thing I could say for anybody that's coming for the future is read the case before, take notes, and kind of get ahead of the game. That's what helped us. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the feedback. I gained a lot of knowledge from working this case and a lot of feedback from the judges. Awesome. Cool.
Done stuff like that.
So did you take a course with
Yeah, Master International Business.
And the first team?
Visionaries.
The Visionaries. So the Visionaries, you'll be presenting first in the finalist round, okay? So who will go second? Justin?
There's the one right there. All right, acquisition experts.
Acquisition experts, you'll be presenting second. Kofi.
Risky business.
Risky business.
Final team. Final team.
Okay, the final team is Team Extreme. Team Extreme.
Okay, so the first team again is back up here again.
Risky business.
A risky business.
Which originated in 1906 from Japan and reached the China market in 1925. So with that, they saw the opportunity to grow in the chicken beyond industry. So what they did with the Chinese banks, like they had short-term markets, basically.
Maji had a slow production and the demand was too high for their supply, and customers therefore go to more trusted brands.
So between the two companies, the main problem was that they had cultural difference, so what each company stood for and what the country stood for. They also had a problem with their operations, so basically Nestle was more rigorous versus Childeberg that was more flexible in their operations. Also, between the imbalance of power, with Nestle having a 80% shareholder power versus totally 20%, it affected the overall decision-making process between the two.
And to evaluate the integration process, if we've all read the case, we all would say that it was poor due to the lack of communication. Why? Because of the cultural differences, because China was a more collectivist culture, while Switzerland is a more individualistic culture. This led to difference in management styles, which produced a poor integration process. But we want to know why, so we have to look at the business setup for this enterprise. Nestle owned 80% of Tataloo. Tataloo used Dongjin Group as their sales and distribution network. Rong owned 20% of Tataloo and Dongjin Group. So they sold Tataloo and the Maji brands. Tataloo had a 42% market share, and the Chinese customers really, really liked it. However, Maji, to sell Maji, Dongjin Group
Include that Ron does not sell his shares in the company, and he should train a lead manager that fits the culture of Totally, as well as continue to set realistic and measurable goals. When it comes to Zhang, the CEO of the general China region, we recommend that he perform some cultural diversity workshops, bring together the human resources from both Totally as well as Nestle to kind of let each other understand their cultural differences, and in return create some synergy and
Good morning. We're Team Risky Business. My name is Kiera Paris. I'm a software accounting major from Howard University.
I am Stephen Fuller. I'm business management major at Claflin University.
My name is Hector Pichardo. I'm a senior business, but it's a joint venture of shareholders of two companies. One of them based in Switzerland, Europe, Nestle, and the second one is Tato, based in China. Thank you. In 2013, the chairman at the time decided to hold a conference with the general owner, the general manager and owner of 20% equity of Tato. His name is Mr. Ron. And one of the goals of Nestle market is to maintain the leading position and the strong influence in all regions. If we do not lead in that area, we will implement corporate acquisition. So since the very beginning, this company came around lurking. What happened from this unraveling of events, Mr. Ron went into a really heavy time and he needed funding, which was the main purpose of him to cooperate. Or are they really open to see new mixtures? Also technology, with the ever-changing technology today in social media platforms and e-commerce, we see that that plays a big and put a big toll into the company because that minimizes the supply chain system.
And then lastly, we did see a threat of managerial conflicts if the new management style that had been, new manager coming in that had been groomed by Nestle, that it would just kind of take away from all that Ron had accomplished. But we saw that with the pricing structure, the product differentiation, go back to working in the past so that we can keep our profits consistent, keep our revenues consistent, and then overall help for sustainable growth. And this concludes our presentation. We now open it up to all questions.
You mentioned was the controlled distribution, and is that one of the reasons why you recommended that Ron not sell his 20% equity and stay a part of the overall Nestle because of that risk?
So once Total took the charge, Maggie disappeared from the map. What are your thoughts? Why do you think that happened? Could or should they avoid it, and how?
So I think it goes back to that original that we're producing things, high commodities. And if they couldn't produce these high commodities, just acquire a firm that's doing it efficiently and then just get rid of their brand. So I think that's what happened with Maggie. Maggie had came in and Nestle realized that they weren't dominating the market, they weren't getting the sales, they weren't getting the revenues. So instead they're like, hey, we're gonna go and do this partnership and this joint venture because that's a part of our original strategy. If we cannot be the industry leaders, we're gonna acquire those who are the industry leaders. And that's how we believe that this partnership formulated from the beginning. And
Thank you.
Bye.
And last but not least, we have Team Extreme.
All right, I'm all set. I'm recording. You can start talking whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Kiera Burris. I'm a sophomore accounting major from Leesburg. Oh, goodness. Can you edit that out?
Yeah, you can start from the top.
Hi, my name is Kiera Burris. I'm a sophomore accounting major from Leesburg, Virginia, representing the illustrious Howard University. Recently, I was with my professor of accounting, Professor Jean Wells, and she asked me if I was interested in doing a case study competition, and I said yes, and she brought me to Atlanta, and basically I showed up here, and I was put on a team with 3 students from St. Augustine, Claflin, and Alabama A&M, basically schools that I would never have interacted with on any other given basis. And we were tasked to complete a case study competition. I think the most interesting thing about this case study competition was the people and the case study itself, the way it was formatted. So this was the first time that I've ever actually interacted being a sophomore that I've ever actually interacted with more upperclassmen, like seniors and whatnot from various different schools. So I thought that was very interesting. And then secondly, the way the case was like structured was we got the case prior to, we had time to read over it and, you know, review it and come up with our own thought process. And then once we met with our teams, we had to basically dissect it again and kind of put it back together so that we can make a more uniform presentation for our team. So, I mean, I guess we did a pretty decent job. Like, we made it to the finals. We're waiting to see how we did now, but I'm pretty proud of our team. Like, we definitely had some moments where we had to like really like figure out like how to communicate with each other so that we weren't like rephrasing the same thing multiple times, but it was a good experience overall. I'm pretty happy I came, so.
Awesome. Thank you for recording, and just feel free to start when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Deidre Pinnock. I'm a sophomore supply chain management major, math minor at Howard University from Queens, New York. This school year, my goal was to put myself into uncomfortable positions, and so when I was faced with the opportunity of being a part of this case study where you have one day to get to know your team and one day to put together a case, I said, sign me up. So it was very interesting meeting my teammates and kind of getting to know each other while being forced to work together as a team. Normally there are 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks to work together with people and get to know them, so it was very interesting. At the end, it turned out to be a fun experience. I got to meet a lot of new people. It was very interesting being the only sophomore on my team, and it was a very interesting case study, so I had fun.
All right, awesome.
One thing I see just missing from all of it is Nestle wants its way. They were in a very powerful position. They deal with markets all over the world, and you can't just let them.
All right, on a slide, a couple slides previously, you said he had key merger signs, and they were all good. They're all good signs. So what about was
on how to market each other's products? So maybe they would. So maybe it's possible that Nestle could even drop the fees if totally.
Yeah, you know what? I did the same thing. Quality PowerPoint 5. They did really well there. Oh yeah, I did well done. Of course, and then I had Tim Visionary in second place, barely by one. I mean, pretty close.
Good, we are almost No. Yes. We'll do the.
You chose this case. You chose this case. You found it. You were bring it to class. It would be interesting to hear about Nestle. Time flies. We're going to go in school by school. And
Alabama A&M University. Sharon Bailey, and pardon me if I mispronounce any names. Congratulations. Chelsea Smith.
Alicia Cannon.
Namesake.
Terry Simmons.
Dr. Hall, will you, oh, sorry, Dr. Jackson, will you read Bowie's statement?
David Mathis. Magnolia Boma. Congratulations. Andre Walker. Judah Nixon. And Brianna Richards. Nelly. Merritt Rapson. Madeline Mock. Shisada Smith.
Ashley Ridley.
Javon Green.
Savannah State, Brianna Brown. Shava Coven.
Kelsey Washington.
Ready?
We have Tim Wolf. Thank you for the tutorial yesterday. Thank you. We have Dr. Yvette Hall. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think first, let's give a round of applause to all the students.
Of course, all of the judges.
Yes, all the
So,
All the judges out today. Is that
Okay, the opposite. Got it? Yeah.
Magnolia right here, honey, okay? Magnolia right here,
And for the second place team receiving $800 and a finalist team trophy goes to Visionaries.
Hold that down just a little bit. Okay.
Not that far down.
Everybody look right here. And then, I guess, all right, here we go. One more. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Great job.
And the Oscar goes to. Okay, the winner is Team Extreme.
Give it to them. Thank you.
Everybody in?
Put it, live it down. Yeah, there you go.
Big
You
smile.
guys can stand a little closer.
Don't be afraid of each other.
If you could move that microphone. Okay, hold on. Sorry, check is. Oh, yeah. It's real reflective. All right, here we go. One more. Okay.
If you're one of the finalists, there's a woman standing in the back with a red.
Very well done, teacher. Very well done.
You're the first place team, right? Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That was my peak. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much.
Okay, if the back row can scoot over just one. Okay, right about there. Okay, keep going, keep going. All right, here we go. Okay, everybody look right into the camera. Okay, here we go. Make sure this is good. All right. Let me get one. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you swap with him?
Sure.
Okay, y'all. Oh, she's not ready. This is a test. All right, y'all ready? Oh, can you take your name tags off on the end there? Okay, and can you move over that way? Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right, here we go. Here we go. Everybody look right to the camera. You look happy. Okay, we'll get one more. Okay, hold on. Okay, very good. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. That's good. Just get one more. Okay. This way. All right. That's good. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Look really happy. Very good. One more. Okay. Look at me one more time.
Yeah, so we
Okay, that's good. Thank you. I mean, I can try it, but just try. Well, just because we have different shops.
Set up the long part. When we take the picture, it goes like this. What's going to happen is we're going to grab these lights and move them over there so that we get a clear background. That means what you guys are doing, you're going to like pivot, see everything, so you're facing up this way. But before you do that, there's a whole bunch of coffee cups and all kinds of crap over there. So this needs to get out of our life, and then boom, you're going to pivot.